Days to join us here at Cranfield. My name is Toby Thompson and I'm joined by my co-host here, Professor Michael Dickmann. Before we go on to Michael and Michael's amazing background, we've got a few pieces of housekeeping to give you. So this is going to be an interactive session. We want your questions throughout the time that we're here talking about the School of Management's management courses. We have several. Hopefully you're interested in one of those. We want your questions, your comments, your observations, your challenges, even pretty much at any time through the time that we are together. We're going to be together for around about 1 hour. We promise to finish not too much longer than 1 hour, but that does depend on the questions that you have. Coming up, we've got some course directors, we've got some lecturers, and we have a student who can answer questions around scholarships, accommodation, what it's like to live here at Cranfield, pretty much, again, at any time. I'm going to be talking to them later on. Before we do that though, let's remind ourselves of what an amazing place Cranfield University is. Together we are brilliant. Every time I see that, I get pumped up. I'm loving that film. Before we talk to Michael, I want to introduce you to a bunch of other people that are joining us today, just so that you can stick around. Just to remember that this is an interactive session and the guest that we're about to show you on the screen at the back will be there to ask and answer questions. Annette, top left. Annette, give us a wave just to prove that you're real. There, look at that, amazing. Oksana, just to prove that we're real and live. Thank you very much indeed. And, sorry, I've just got the clock in front of me there. Valentina, give me a wave. And Maria lastly. So that was a tortuous thing. Maria's our student here today. Thank you. Just to prove that it's live, we had a glitch first off when we kicked off here, so things are always in process, but this is a live session. So find that Zoom text chat and maybe first of all type in there where you are right now. Let us know where you are in the world. And if you're watching the recordings, look out for ways to stay in contact with us here at Cranfield University. We're very keen to hear and see more of you. So please stay in touch. Michael, I'm going to come to you first because you have an amazing background and history. I counted 67 academic papers, but I won't embarrass you with that. You're Professor of International Human Resource Management. Tell us more about your background. How have you ended up working here at Cranfield?
I ended up with joy working here in Cranfield. So I studied in London, did a PhD in London, but also had a career in consulting and the HR consulting field for a company called Gemini Consulting, one of the big consultancy firms, and was the worldwide HR director of a German multinational.
Wow.
Right, and then I stumbled across this amazing place here, and because I was inspired by linking my interest in research and in education, to come here, and it really has paid off, I think. So I saw in the video that we work with the UN. I have worked with the UN to design part of the career system. I worked with the Singaporean government. I worked with a range of other things, but all as a Cranfield ambassador and as a professor in my field.
Wow, that's quite a background that you have. So you've managed to get your interests along with your industry experience and put it in an academic. You're not an accidental academic by the sound of it. You always wanted to be an academic.
Well, maybe not quite early on. You know, when I was a consultant,
we don't know.
I really enjoyed also consultancy. But then I really enjoyed the educational aspects of working as a consultant as well, because part of that was working with BMW, Deutsche Telekom, other large multinationals to actually educate their workforce.
Wow.
Right. So it moved me. I developed, and you know, a lot of our students, they have an idea, and then they come to us and turbocharge this idea, but also develop. And sometimes, you know, you broaden your interests and find a different way towards your own career and being yourself in your career, I think.
I want to talk to Maria later on about that because Maria has an amazing story about it. So what programs are we talking about today? I know you've got some slides for us, but roughly speaking, what portfolio are we looking at?
Yeah, I'm generally quickly introducing the university and then the Masters in Management. And the Masters in Management is one course, is a general Masters in Management that I lead, but we are fortunate to have 3 of my colleagues on the call because next to the general Masters in Management, we also have specializations in corporate sustainability, in entrepreneurship, and in human resource management.
Brilliant. So if any of those are of interest to you, and hopefully they are, please have that question ready. Maybe go ahead and type it in already. Maybe there's a burning question which you didn't pick up or get answered from the website. So please send that to us. And we've got Mia from Bangalore. We've got Monika from India. So thank you. Thank you for putting that in. If you've not had a chance in the text chat to type where you are, please put that in the text chat. Tell us where you are. It gives us a good, warm, fuzzy feeling. International University here. So ease us into the slide. You said you were going to talk about the university initially. Tell us more about the university and how the university sits.
Okay, so you know that the university is absolutely unique in the UK because it is the only postgraduate university. Now, we are creating leaders in technology and management. So we have a range of faculties. I'm more talking about today about the faculty of management, but we have a range of technical faculties. And when we say we unlock the potential of people and organizations by partnering with business, that's really what we do. We unlock this because we are very, very practice-oriented, but we unlock the potential in various forms. So there is a potential around management education, of course, but there's a potential around becoming a good leader and a consultant to other businesses. There is a potential to be really linked to entrepreneurship, sustainability, or the human resource aspects. So we're trying to understand where our students want to go, but also then by our very, very specific yet evidence-driven approaches, we can link to that and really unlock the potential of people.
So it sounds like people don't necessarily, in the audience today, don't necessarily have to know exactly what they want, just have an open and curious mind to start looking at management in its broadest possible context.
Yeah, that is true. And we have a range of people who come here because they want to have a general managerial career, but also we have a range of people who already know what they want. So they want to have a career in human resource management, and therefore they go and pursue the Masters in Management and Human Resource Management. Next slide, please. Let me give you something
lovely
about
sunny. That picture we have behind us, by the way, this is a real live image. There's actually a sunny sky on that picture there too, which is gorgeous to see.
And because England is famous for being very,
not recently.
very sunny.
Not recently, it hasn't
recently.
been raining a lot.
But what you can see is we are a campus university, and that makes it really ideal for people to be safe and to concentrate on their studies. I mean, look, students are students, right? There will be parties, there will be joy, but it has a very good effect of being on a campus university, to be able to find friends. We put you into learning teams, you'll spend time working together, and for all of that, it's a very high density learning experience, but you don't get stressed from the hustle and bustle of places like London. Next slide, please. Right, now, already the video showed you lots of data. I'm gonna just concentrate on one, okay, here, because you can see lots of things that are really excellent about the university. Let me pull out the 6th in the world for teaching power and influence. That is the School of Management, where we really excel in being fantastic in teaching, having a big impact on teaching here, but also actually on lots of other universities that use our textbooks, okay, written by our academics.
Teaching power, that's what the Financial Times calls it.
Yeah, teaching power.
Right.
Next slide, please. So, we are transforming the way the world works, okay? And we do that through a complex journey where we're trying to understand you and your educational needs and then bring them into your learning experience, of course. But there is, this we are not doing this year. We've been doing this for the last 50 years at the School of Management, and it shows in some of our rankings, okay? We are within the top 1% in the world in terms of European business schools. We are 8th in the UK and 37th in Europe. We are 6th most influential business school in the world according to the Financial Times Power Ranking. We are consistently in the UK top 10 for basically all our courses. That's the MBA, the Executive MBA, and all the Masters in Management. And crucially, we're number 1 in Europe for learning. And it's because we have developed these approaches geared at reflective and evidence-driven learning journeys. And then we are first in Europe for entrepreneurship, and you will benefit obviously from that in all courses, but in particular in the Masters in Management and Entrepreneurship. And we do care for our environment and for the future. And so we are first in the UK for carbon footprint and working hard to look at sustainability issues, which again, if you really want to delve deep into this, the Masters in Management and Corporate Sustainability is a fantastic lever to do that.
More on that story later.
Yeah,
Tell
exactly.
us about, as they say on TV. Tell us more about the rankings.
Which ones would you like? Next slide, please. This is a particular Masters in Management ranking for the ones that we talk about today. So currently the Financial Times ranks us 4th in the UK. The QS World University ranking 6th in the UK. So You might know that ranking criteria are slightly different, so all the rankings are slightly different per se. And then you can see that we have good rankings for in the world per se. Next slide, please. But let me tell you something about our strengths. Okay, one of the key strengths is that in the Masters of Management, almost everyone gets an internship. In fact, we are over-providing. I'll talk more about it. But again, this year we have more internships than students.
Wow.
So when we say 93% of students that the FT have identified, it is because sometimes students prefer a slightly different route. They want either traditional thesis, they want to be researchers and want to do a PhD maybe, or occasionally they had time pressures. So I had a student last year who got a job at PwC, but PwC said you have to start on the 1st of September, but the course went a bit longer. So his way was to do a traditional thesis where he could finish the thesis a bit earlier. So there are variations on this, but the key point here is we are absolutely unique. According to the Financial Times, the second Masters in Management in the UK offering internship manages to get 16% of their students onto an internship. We are in the 90%.
Interesting contrast.
Yeah. We've got a great career service, 27th in the world. We are second on the Masters in Management in the UK for overall satisfaction for students. And in fact, we're first for international experience. We just don't have that on the slide yet. And we have a fantastic alumni network. You become alumni on the first day, or at least member of the alumni network.
Not when you leave, on your
it's
first
really
day.
interesting. But because we've done that so that people can reach out and use the alumni networks already while they're studying here.
Good point.
Okay.
Nice.
Next slide, please. So what is it that makes that special? Well, one of the parts is that we are very close to industry. Okay, I am not actually that special for Cranfield. Almost every one of my colleagues have worked in industry or in consultancy, somewhere else in basically the real life, really, where they understand what goes on in industry, and then they join us in Cranfield, which then translate into how we design courses, how we talk about companies, how we bring in companies into our work, so that it is much more realistic, much more close to industry than you can find in other places. So that also means we have an industry advisory board. We currently, at the Masters in Management, have people from GE on it, from Bain, a partner from Bain. We have a very successful artificial intelligence entrepreneur who's done artificial intelligence much earlier than others. He's already sold his company about 2 years ago to an Israeli company, okay, and is busy developing other AI-driven companies. So that then comes into us to shape what we are talking about or the guest speakers that we have.
One of my questions was going to be, how do you remain relevant? I guess this is how you remain relevant.
Part of that is that, yeah.
Right.
And part actually is accreditation.
Right.
So we are accredited by the CMI, Chartered Management Institute. So you don't just get a master's in management from Cranfield, but also obviously, if you deserve it, you have to earn it. You can't buy it.
So there's an exam involved for the CMI?
Occasionally. No, the exams are just our exams for the masters.
Right.
The CMI looks at it and looks at the quality that you have achieved, and then you get a second degree, basically.
Wow. It's
accredited. And if you are on the Masters in Management and Human Resource Management, you get a third one because it's also accredited by the CIPD, the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development here.
Buy one, get three.
Yeah, buy one, get three, or buy one, get two. But the point is, you asked, how do we stay current?
Yes.
Because we designed it with the MBA as a blueprint. Mm-hmm. We have the advisory board, but we also have all these accreditation institutes who have their own demands and criteria, and obviously we have to satisfy them.
Yes.
But we do, and we go actually beyond that. Okay, you go well beyond that because we're such a leading organization. Next slide, please.
So relevance, hugely important.
Yeah. So the real world learning, how do we do this? We put this into the design, as I said before. The relevance is faculty with industry background. Interaction. Okay, part of your journey with the Masters in Management is that you will see a lot of business simulations, case studies, consultancy projects, and so on, that mean you interact with organizations or senior managers, and that stimulates you and helps you. Okay, there's a leadership element which is very particular to this course. We use psychometric instruments to help you understand yourself first of all. So MBTI or FIRO-B or so. We then help you to understand others through this process and how to influence others, how communication, because leadership is obviously also influencing others and making them your followers, right? And so that journey we have explored in how we can support this. And it's a fantastic journey. It's been, when the Financial Times still ranked this, they've stopped ranking this a few years ago, but we were #1 in the world for this particular leadership approach.
Wow, you heard it here first.
And then of course transfer internships, okay, or other company-based projects on your study tours, okay, or sometimes master's classes with industry aspects. But this is extracurricular, we engage in a range of challenges. So you can see on the slide, there's a Cranfield Unilever challenge that was won by the Masters in Management students in 2022, but in fact last year as well. And this year already we had a boss competition, which was won by the MIM students, and we are now UK winners from the HALT competition. And the students are likely to go to Boston in June for the next round, which is an international round.
I heard about that. If they win, there's £1 million prize or $1 million prize.
There's still 20, because this is a worldwide operation, there's still 21 teams left.
Fingers
but ours
crossed.
is one, okay, and £1 million.
We might make it.
Let's hope that's true. So there are 3 Masters in Management students on it and 2 other faculty students from the aeronautics, we call it SATM, from an aeronautics degree. So we use the strengths of the university to connect people on this one.
You're looking for quite some people to be on this course. There's a lot that you seem to be asking from them. That ambition, by the sound of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's who you're expecting to be on this call, is someone with ambition, someone with creativity, someone looking to explore the world.
Yeah, I mean, look, drive and vision, but vision, as I said, can be adjusted, right? Because you are developing. But the drive to excel and to be good at what you're doing is really important. Yeah, we're doing quite a lot in our teaching, yeah, but we have fantastic students. Right, it's great to have them, and it shows in these competitions and in other output variables.
And if you join us, you'll be part of that same amazing community. Yeah. You mentioned internships earlier on, but tell us about internships, because that sounds
next slide, please.
That sounds really good fun.
Yes, it comes up. Okay, so you can see on this slide some of the companies we've worked with. Okay, and you can see also the internships taken, so it varies. So you saw a few years back 98%, then 93%, and so on. It's around 95%-ish every year, because it's driven by the students who want to take these internships up. There is a process where people have to apply to an internship project, because the companies having to choose you as well, the students. But having said that, we every year consistently we had many more internship offers than actually the internship the student numbers. So you have some choice. So last year we had Amazon, AMS, Becker Capital, Ball, GKN Aerospace, Procter & Gamble, and so on, as some of the companies we work with. Some of them are big and you will know them. Some of them are smaller. But then that means often that you have a broader internship project there. And we look at these projects. They're important to us because you want to learn. Students want to learn. So we make sure it is a strategic project for the organization. It might be strategic in a in supply chain management, or in marketing, or in human resource management, or so some functions of it. Okay. Occasionally, it's also just organizational strategy, but it will be an important project to the organization.
In other words, a real project. It's not make work. It's not an educational oriented thing.
Absolutely
it's a
not.
real project.
Real project with a big chance of students getting an offer afterwards from the companies to work there.
Nice.
Okay, and sometimes the companies already indicate that they want our students before they launch the project, because we are the kind of talent supply pipeline to them. Okay, next slide, please. Now, the internships are really, really important, but there's also an important section in term 3, and that is we are going to Spain. Okay, we have a 1-month study tour in Spain, where I take the students, all of them.
You're in that picture somewhere.
Yeah, I'm somewhere.
The cool dude in the middle.
In the middle with the glasses somewhere. And it's on top of the Granada in
Alhambra.
Sorry, in Granada in the Alhambra.
Nice.
Okay, so you can see us there. So I take the students there, and we have a lot of fun, but it's also serious work. Okay, so we have
believe you.
2 courses there. One on cross-cultural management. That's why we're abroad. And the other one we call MAC, it's Management Consulting. And again, as we are not having some artificial project. We are having a live project where our students in teams work to help an organization to solve this project. So you can see in the list there that we've worked for EY, Citigroup, Radisson Hotels, Baker & Hughes, and World Vision in the last years. This year it's going to be Deloitte. It's not officially announced yet, but it'll be
a nice
Deloitte.
collection.
Okay, and it's high intensity but high density learning, as we call it, but a lot of fun too. Next slide, please. Right, this is my last slide. You might be happy to hear, and it's simply a slide that says here are lots of different choices that you have as students in the 4 courses, where you see the ticks, these are compulsory courses, and then you have electives that you can choose if you want to engage with that. So you can see how many specialists we actually have in the School of Management who teach this variety of courses, and how you can shape whatever you need for your career.
Can I just ask a question on behalf of Divyansh, who's just asked a question mentioned on those competitions you said. What's the process like to compete as a student in one of the competitions that you mentioned?
All right. The process is the following. You show interest, basically. No, that's the first step. You want to, because it's extracurricular. These competition you don't have to do.
Right.
The Deloitte project this year you will have to do. Okay. You show interest, and normally we put you into a team either of other interested people, or you find the team yourself. Okay, and then we normally have staff members who help you in that process. So whatever this process is like, what the competition is about, you're not alone. Right? You brainstorm in your team, and hopefully you have creative ideas, but you also have specialist professors who are often able to give you some advice. Think about X, or what happens when you do whatever you suggest, right? To then improve, possibly, hopefully, your thinking. And it has shown. I mean, I do not remember a year where we didn't win at least one competition.
You're bragging now.
I do, but we didn't engage more than 2 or 3 either. Right. So this year we engaged in 2. We won 1. We are pretty nicely located for the second one in Hult. If we do a Unilever challenge, we might do this again. I don't know yet. But that's it. I mean, I'm not aware that my students do more, but
wow.
we are pretty good in this.
Be part of the winning team. Come to Cranfield. There's a follow-up question on that one. This is Divyansh again asking, I've accepted my offer, but don't have
congratulations.
Good is the right thing to do. But I don't have an academic background in business or management. how would you suggest to best prepare for the course ahead of time?
Okay, good point. We have probably, it shifted a bit in the last couple of years, but we have probably about half to 60%, 50 to 60% of students who do not have a business background. They tend to have an engineering background, but occasionally we have what I call wild and wonderful people. So we had an Olympic gymnast from France on the course. We had a Formula 3 racing driver on the course. Okay, so it's not necessarily everybody who has an engineering degree. And we have people who've, we had a captain of a tanker, a super tanker, 2 years ago on the course, Georgios. So it varies, okay? So these, I see lots of people with a non-business background doing really, really well on the course. So that's the first bit. The second bit is how can you prepare? What we do is you don't need to prepare per se, right? Your English needs to be reasonably good. If English isn't your first language, we do offer courses to brush that up before you come. We do give you some math support in case we realize that you need it. It's not highly mathematical actually, but we offer math support for basic math stuff once you're here. We do send out a list of books that you might want to read. That's fine. You can contact us and you get a reading list. I don't expect you to read them, but if you have done, that's a nice start. Okay.
Divyansh, we are very keen to hear from you, so please stay in touch. One quick question before we hand over to our colleagues there. During the internships, do we have different industries coming in, such as pharmaceutical companies? That's from Akanksha.
Yeah. Every year, it's a new game. Okay, I have a dedicated team who tries to get these internships and is very successful in this. Every year we have consultancies. We have quite a lot of engineering companies, but we also have things like Civil Aviation Authority. We had that the last 2 years and this year again.
Wow.
Okay, and we often have also pharmacies and so on. So it varies.
Right.
We had a very exciting pharmacy a few years back, pharmaceutical company, which said, okay, we want to expand in the UK and Poland. Do us a market entry and expansion strategy.
Couldn't get more real.
Subject. Yeah, it was great.
Get your teeth into that. That's quite something. Talk us through some more of the slides. I know you're going to hand over to our colleagues at some point.
Yeah.
Is that now?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
It's now.
Who are you pointing to, Oksana?
Who would like? Who's next, basically, from my colleagues? Annette.
Oksana.
It's Oksana. Oksana,
Okay.
tell us, Oksana, first of all, sorry, thanks for joining us, thanks for sticking in the studio. Before you talk about the entrepreneurship program, tell us more about yourself. What's your background and how have you ended up at Cranfield?
So my background is basically, I've got about 25 years of combined academic and practical experience. The first decade was in corporate and investment banking. Where I did quite a lot of different things, but primarily project finance, infrastructure finance, and then worked with a range of various companies in Spain, ranging from really micro businesses to large corporates, some of which were family firms. I then focused on leveraged finance, which is probably, in my opinion, is the most fascinating area because that is where private equity investors buy out firms that have growth potential and try to imbue that with additional growth and then obviously move on and make them bigger and greater. Really fascinating area. Like Michael said, I think we who worked outside of academia before really enjoyed it. It's a very sort of multi-stakeholder relationship, high pressure, lots of deadlines, lots of smart people to work with. And so, yeah, no, that was fascinating. And at some point, I was quite curious about the risk appetite of different investors when they look at the same target, and how that, what was it driven by. So I decided to do a PhD in that area, looking at risk-taking by venture capital and private equity firms. My PhD is from IE Business School in Madrid, which has quite a strong tradition of entrepreneurial education. So it was absolutely amazing, thriving place to be. And after that, I moved to the UK. I started in Cranfield many years ago, looking at strategic projects by large companies, but also scale-ups. And after that, I moved on into a then newly created Centre for Enterprise Research Centre, which was funded by quite a lot of public entities within the UK. And we looked at growth, at various aspects of entrepreneurial growth within particularly SME sector. And after about 3 and a bit years at Warwick, I returned to Cranfield because obviously I'm local.
Well, it's great having you with us.
It did make sense, and joined the Battista Centre for Entrepreneurship. And and soon after took over the MSc in Management and Entrepreneurship, which is, I think, is an amazing program. So it's the only program that effectively resides within the Battista Centre for Entrepreneurship, and this centre is in charge of promoting all the wonderful aspects of entrepreneurial community, entrepreneurial life within university and also within our local community. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Moving on from that topic, I think Michael had described the MSc in Management Plus really well, and all the amazing rankings that we hold. One thing that is particularly dear to me is that we are #1 in Europe in entrepreneurship among the business schools, according to Bloomberg. And we also hold the Small Business Charter accreditation. And that is a relatively new charter that is given to business schools that promote student entrepreneurship, that support local businesses, local small and medium-sized businesses, and the local community. And in fact, usually business schools gain it for a period of 3 years, but I think our submission was so good that they've given it to us for 5 years.
Listen to us, we have quite something. I know you've got some slides, Oksana, for us, but we're keen to hear more, and I think the audience is too, around the MENT. You're calling it MENT, have I got that right?
Yes,
Management Entrepreneurship?
It's very affectionately called MENT.
MENT.
We've got our own separate sub-brand, I would say. So what do? We do quite a lot of exciting things. We teach people all the ins and outs of startup world, how to find that opportunity that will attract interest and grow a massive following, really. And would be able to scale. So how do you identify that opportunity? How do you then establish that mythical product market fit where everybody's tearing your hands for the product that you've created, and quite a significant portion of your audience would be very disappointed if that did cease to exist? How do you then focus on those metrics that lead you to this path, into this pathway? How do you approach investors, because huge ideas do require quite a lot of support from partners, investors, and customers, you name it. How do you speak to the investors? What you negotiate on to make sure that you regain a comfortable position for yourself and some control, but yet would be benefited by the input of those early investors. How do you then grow the business and make sure that you do not sink the boat, but also do not miss it? How do you prepare for potential exit? How do you value the company? What route to take to exit, should you want to do that? How do you kind of propel the growth whilst you're growing, potentially cooperating with corporates and their corporate venturing units, joining corporate accelerators, joining other specialized accelerators in this area. How do you manage an established business, which is quite different as well and has its own routines and its own set of governance? How do you then become entrepreneurial within a larger firm? Because as we know in the UK, in the recent years, even large companies are called upon to have entrepreneurial boards of directors that provide that entrepreneurial leadership to the firm, so that we as a country can propel the innovation and exports and become a lot more visible in the world. So entrepreneurship, I feel, resides everywhere in a lot of different contexts, and that is effectively what we cover in this program as well. We also engage with the local community. So, for instance, in your entrepreneurship module, should you choose to go for this program, at the end there will be a pitch presentation, the one that you would probably like to give to potential investors. So we bring people from local entrepreneurship support community, from accelerators, innovation centres and we bring seasoned entrepreneurs to provide students feedback on their pitches. So there are certain modules that are quite unique to our programme. We have a particular strength around family business and family business management, and it's an amazing context because there are many governance issues, there are many conflicts of interest that may arise, particularly with regards to growth of such businesses. So we have developed that particular strength in family business management, as well as the just the general issue of managing growth. You might realise as your company grows that you might have to change your leadership team. You might need to grow middle management, and if you do, those people who are heads of functions do not agree with each other because they've got different KPIs and different priorities. So how do you reach that point where you could grow sustainably as a business? Our entrepreneurial finance module is probably one of the key strengths that we have, because it is how to talk to VCs and how to be a VC. So venture capitalist investor that propels the growth of companies. It generally tends to be interactive. I do talk too much, so that's something that I suppose
we're loving it. We're loving it. Keep going.
Would have to happen, but it generally is quite interactive. It's very free flow. There's a lot of working in the teams. Entrepreneurship faculty, so we who work at the Battista Centre of Entrepreneurship, we always support the competitions that are going on. So we are assigned mentors for both the HALT competition, HALT Prize Challenge, and the Unilever Challenge, which is now called Colworth. So we support our student teams, and I suppose Maria could add to that, because I know that she's taken part in both of them. So those are the type of students we want to see, those that show initiative, that have the drive, that are willing to work, that seek feedback, take it on board, and really are delight to see at the end of the process. So there is, as Battista Centre for Entrepreneurship caters for quite a lot of, basically our remit is university-wide. So we provide a number of activities that are geared to inspire people to become entrepreneurs in whatever context they may choose, and also educate them along the process, so develop certain skill sets. We do that in the classroom, but also alongside the classroom through fire chats, through startup weekends, which is kind of like a boot camp type of activity that is led by faculty and mentors our former alumni, potential investors, that kind of caliber of people. And we do have a number of inspirational talks as well as workshops that are geared towards specific skills. So early in the year we had an MVP development workshop with the MENT students. We usually have somebody come and give their deep dive into IP protection, intellectual property protection, those type of things. So it's very practical, very interactive. There is a lot of that positive energy and buzz going on around entrepreneurship on campus. We are certainly the place to be.
You would say that.
Of course, of course. Right, so yeah, there's a number of different competitions, trips we usually undertake, students score, as Michael also mentioned. We do have quite a nice cooperation among the students, and somehow this theme always comes out on top in competitions.
Brilliant. I guess as a question, and Oksana, whilst you're still there, it may still be relevant for you, and it was a question about structures of modules, and Michael, you might have something to say about this one too. This is Vikrant. How is the distribution of various modules structured throughout the terms in the Management MSc? And I guess, Oksana, you could also talk about that in terms of the MENT program.
Shall I start with
Yeah, you start.
Yeah. So the bulk of our modules happens during the term 1 and term 2. Term 1 is difficult in the sense that you are in a new country, you're adjusting their assignments, their deadlines, everything like that. Term 2 tends to be slightly busier, because on top of what you've already gotten used to, you also have 2 really major competitions going on. And then that is where probably the majority of modules takes place. And then towards the term 3, we talk about how to prepare for the thesis or internship, as the case may be. There may be 1 or 2 modules, but it is considerably lighter. And then the 4th term is really focused on that final deliverable. In case of MENT, just to backtrack, because I had mentioned, our thesis tends to be either a growth plan for a company, either a local SME or somebody's family business, for instance. Or maybe students have come with an idea, maybe they've kind of slightly pivoted during the course of the studies. They refine their idea and they want to write an investor-ready business plan. So that would be another modality of thesis, and of course the more traditional one for research-oriented students. Now, the modules tend to be really modular, right? So some of them span maybe 3 weeks, majority 1 or 2 weeks, followed by assessment. And there are several weeks for students to complete an assessment. It's either group-based or individual-based.
Brilliant. Oksana, thank you.
Feedback.
Hold that thought. We may come back to more of this from Vikrant's question around module structure.
Yeah, it's pretty similar on the MIM. So the first term you have 6 modules, well 5, and then you choose whether you want to have an elective. Most people choose 1 elective at least. It is because people have to get used to Cranfield, and we do very much to try also to bring students together. So bowling, volleyball, badminton, football we've done, Christmas party. So you can see the cohort comes together. Second term we do everything like MENT does, with 1 addition. That it's a
Don't
bit
tell
more,
Oksana
more
this.
The addition is people start to interview for internships. Then the 3rd term we go to Spain, right? Do the courses there, but also, I mean, I didn't mention that, not just the Alhambra picture, but we go sailing, we go and do a paella master chef, we visit companies. This year we'll probably visit Valencia Football Club.
This sounds like too much fun. Are you studying? Are you working?
Keep it a bit quiet. It's a really fun time, but it is also lots of fun, but lots of learning.
Yes.
So then students come back and go into the internships.
Wow.
That's the 4th term.
Wow. Okay. That sounds amazing. We want to move on now, if we can, to the sustainability programs. And Annette, if you can tell us a little bit about sustainability, what the courses about how it's structured. Before you do that though, Annette, if you can tell us a bit about yourself. How have you ended up working here at Cranfield University?
Sure, Toby. So yes, my name's Annette Yunus-Pendrey, and I am the course director of the Management and Corporate Sustainability MSc here at Cranfield. And like Michael and Oksana, and as Michael mentioned earlier, like many other faculty members at Cranfield, I've also got a practitioner background. So I previously worked at the OECD in Paris, at the Cambridge Institute for Sustainability Leadership, and so my entire career has been in sustainability over the last 16 years, 10 years of which was at Aviva PLC. Aviva is a global insurer, one of the largest insurers in the world, the largest insurer in the UK. And whilst at Aviva, I worked in the group head office, so leading the corporate sustainability program across Aviva's global businesses. And in that role, I also liaised with investors, in particular mainstream as well as ESG, or environment, social and governance investors. So in 2015, I pivoted from practice into academia, and I'm now the assistant professor in sustainability at Cranfield. And in that role, I'm the course director of the MSc in Management and Corporate Sustainability.
Tell us more then. Why should we choose a corporate management sustainability program at Cranfield? You're going to say it's obvious that you should, but tell us more.
Well, I'm personally, very proud of the offering that we have here at Cranfield. I think it's really unique in a lot of different ways, and I'd like to share some slides with you which outline why I think the Management and Corporate Sustainability MSc is unique and is different from others that are on offer, and in turn will therefore differentiate you, so those of you who are watching this webinar, differentiate you from others who might also be following similar courses, but this one at Cranfield I think is quite different and quite unique. So principally 4 reasons why it is unique. It's really, as has been alluded to previously, it's very practitioner focused here at Cranfield. So you'll learn about the practicalities of how businesses successfully embed sustainability into their core business strategy and purpose. Second, we're very teaching focused, and I think that's a big highlight here at Cranfield, and it has been a big highlight for me as a lecturer here at Cranfield. So that the teaching is really designed to nurture you and to nurture your business skills as well as your confidence, building that so that you can really tackle real world challenges head on. In addition, I think it's also important that the course offers the ability for you to be able to put your knowledge into action. So we offer various different opportunities to students to partner with some of our key organisations, so working on projects, so learning while doing, and I think that's a really important component of the MSc in Management and Corporate Sustainability at Cranfield. And in addition, the 4th point is about as Michael has already mentioned, the Chartered Management Institute accreditation. So this is a professional management qualification that students will be able to gain at Cranfield alongside their Cranfield degree. So as we talked about earlier on, you'll be able to gain 2 degrees for the price of 1. So it's a win-win for everyone. So delving a little deeper into these reasons, as I mentioned, it's very practice focused, and you'll be able to learn how to embed sustainability successfully into the business, the whys and the hows of embedding it into business as standard. And in particular, You'll be learning how to do this through specialist sustainability focused modules that will be taught alongside the more mainstream management modules that we offer at Cranfield. So the specialist sustainability modules include Leading Corporate Sustainability, which is more of an introductory module to sustainability, really highlighting the whys and the hows of sustainability. And that's then built on by the Creating Sustainable Organizations module. And both of these modules really emphasize the practicalities of it by including industry practitioners, so leading experts in sustainability as guest lecturers on these modules. And in addition, the Creating Sustainable Organizations module also includes in student assignments consultancy projects that the students complete, working in teams, so in their learning teams, working to grapple with the challenges that an invited organisation will face. So students will be invited to work in their learning teams to recommend sustainability-based improvements for these organisations. In addition, we also have the Applied Science and Technology for Environmental Sustainability module, and that's led by my colleagues in the School for Water, Environment and Energy. And this module is very, as the name suggests, very science and technology based. It allows students to learn about evolving, emerging technologies, as well as current technologies that exist in order to reduce environmental impacts, so things like reducing air emissions, alternative forms of energy, different waste processing methods, soil health, and so on. So it provides the tools to students to really get a better understanding of how to deal with the environmental challenges that we face. There's also this social entrepreneurship module that is very much deals again on a very practical basis with how it provides an industry consultancy project, again like the Creating Sustainable Organizations module. So students again will be able to work on that. In the case of the social entrepreneurship module, in recent years it has included, or it had involved a global non-profit, WhatsApp, which is a global non-profit dealing with water and sanitation for the urban poor. And so students have been involved working together in dealing with, in putting forward recommendations for improvement for these kinds of social entrepreneurship organizations. And then in addition, we also have the Green and Sustainable Finance module, which really expands on the accounting and finance module that is taught earlier on in the course. So really providing specialist expertise in green and sustainable finance. And then in addition, at the end of the course, towards the end of it, students will start to work on their thesis. So that can be on a topic of their choosing. It can be on an empirical research or a literature review. And also, like Michael was talking earlier on about the Masters in Management, on the Masters in Management and Corporate Sustainability, we also offer quite uniquely in-company research projects to students that are arranged by Cranfield in partnership with sustainability organisations. And that in the past has included organisations including the NHS, for example, Mazars, which is a sustainability consultancy, Gatehouse Bank, which specialises in Islamic finance, WSUP or WhatsApp, which is the water and sanitation for the urban poor. So a lot of different organisations are involved, and we arrange these in-company projects for our students. So in terms of the projects that are offered or that the students decide to focus their thesis on, there's a huge variety of different topics that students have chosen in the past, ranging from things like water and sanitation for the urban poor, electric vehicle study for the NHS, financial sanctions for ecological degradation, and also covering topics that reflect geographical diversity. So, for example, palm oil in Malaysian supply chains, or in Mexico, looking at sustainability transition there. It's also looked at things like, or students have also looked at things like private finance in biodiversity, so much more evolving topics, things like blockchain technology that has covered very recent developments and how that blockchain technology has an impact on food waste reduction. So a lot of very varied and interesting topics that the students have chosen to do and are continuing to do. We've got one of my students on the MSc in Management and Corporate Sustainability on the call here today, and might be happy to share her thoughts later on as well on what she might be considering doing for her thesis. So in terms of the job market demands, I think the Management and Corporate Sustainability course offers students the opportunity to really meet these job market demands. So according to the latest report published in 2023, so just last year by LinkedIn, this data was based on 930 million LinkedIn users across the world, so from 48 countries around the world. And that showed that there's been an increase in demand for green skills. So almost a quarter of job postings now require at least one green skill. So some 22% of job postings require at least one green skill. And that's not being met currently by the supply of people with green skills. So currently only 12% of the workforce post on LinkedIn that they have green skills, so sustainability related skills. So there's a real demand for people with green skills, as it's called in this report, or sustainability related skills. And that's reinforced also by another finding in this report, which suggests that employees with green skills are actually more marketable than the average workforce. So there's a higher hiring rate of workers with at least one green skill compared to the workforce average. So a 29% increase if you have at least one green skill, so some kind of sustainability related skills. And that's, I think, a finding that comes across in another part of this report from LinkedIn, which really highlights the importance of sustainability education. And this is where we fit in with our Management and Corporate Sustainability offering. So according to this finding, sustainability education is the second fastest growing green skill in Europe. So second only to climate action planning. So having sustainability education in your skills makes you a lot more employable, according to this LinkedIn report. So a really key thing to have in today's marketplace. And in terms of where our students have gone once they've graduated, we have a large alumni network which spans the globe. Stretching from North America to Central and South America, Europe, Africa and Asia. And this also reflects the fact that the course has been going for some 10 years now, and a lot of the alumni are there to help students once they graduate from the MSc in Management and Corporate Sustainability degree. So that's a really big bonus, a plus for Cranfield. And as was mentioned earlier on, you are part of the alumni network already from day one, so that's a really helpful start to get people onto the job market and to be able to learn from past alumni. So there I've got on the right-hand side a variety of different sample roles that graduates have landed after they've completed their degree at Cranfield, and that's ranged from Amazon to the European Space Agency. In terms of roles there, they have been both mainstream roles as well as specialist sustainability roles. So, a huge range of different roles, including consulting, academia. Unilever has also been mentioned. Yeah, that's a key leading sustainability organisation. So I'm really pleased about the successes of our alumni in sustainability, as well as in more mainstream roles. So I mentioned earlier on about the real-world learning opportunities and the opportunities that we give students to put their learning into practice. I mentioned earlier on about the insights that students gain as standard from leading experts in sustainability on various modules that we offer on the course. So this is how they learn latest insights from leading practitioners, and also are able to network with these before and after the sessions. We also offer the Sustainable Futures game, and this is a really innovative and thought-provoking experiential game which allows students to really experience what future scenarios might look like based on decisions that we make today. So that, in that sense, we're able to, to time travel. So, we've heard about how different courses offer the opportunity to travel to different parts of the world. We offer the opportunity to travel to the future through this really exciting and innovative learning experience, the Sustainable Futures game. So that's a half-day workshop that students on the course play, and they and it really brings home an understanding of how decisions we make do have far-reaching implications. And it's also brought home through the role-playing that takes place in this game, where students take on the role of either mainstream established businesses, or a startup, or individuals, or NGOs and civil society. And it really brings home the importance of collaborating with others. So not working in a silo, but the importance of collaborating with others in order to bring about the systemic change that is needed in sustainability, to address the really hard-hitting issues of decarbonisation. And as I mentioned earlier on, we also have a variety of consultancy projects. So in our social entrepreneurship module and our creating sustainable organisations module. And last but certainly not least, we also have extra and co-curricular activities that I think are really help to make the experience at Cranfield really rich and diverse for our students. So we have things like the Sustainability Network, which involves some 2,000 plus sustainability interested participants. So whether they're sustainability practitioners or students, or more broadly, as well as in sustainability, and scholars who are sustainability experts. And these are invited on a regular basis to come to speak at Cranfield, as well as online. So again, this allows the students to network with this very large group of people. Last week I was really pleased to be able to attend the ED conference in London with all of the students on the MSc in Management and Corporate Sustainability course. So this ED is a sustainability conference. It's a 2-day conference in London with some of the leading businesses in sustainability, so hundreds of leading companies. And it really provides the most up-to-date knowledge of what practitioners are actually doing in the field of sustainability, and also allows students to to mix with others and to network and build on their connections. So again, a really a plus point of Cranfield and the MSc degree here. And some of the students did say that they weren't aware of any other students, friends of theirs, who had a similar opportunity like they did to attend ED last week. And finally, we've also arranged local visits to places like Corley's, which is the university's waste and resource management facility. Corley's is a small family-owned business that recycles recycles materials, and really interestingly, it's moving into the lithium battery recycling field. So it's offering a new service reflecting the greening of the economy and reflecting the fact that even small family-owned businesses are now changing their offering and providing new services to customers that weren't on offer before. So this now reflects the increasing numbers of electric vehicles on our roads and the expected increase in batteries that will need to be recycled over time.
Annette, can I stop you there? We're very keen to hear from the student. You mentioned
Yes.
you put it to Maria that you want to hear about her thesis. So I want to come to that. Before we come to Valentina to talk about the HRM course, there's a couple or three questions in the chat, which hopefully you can pick up on. Munika's asking, recently there's been news that the probability of international students getting a job in the UK has been significantly reduced. Can you confirm how it's going at Cranfield University this year for international students?
Okay, I'm trying to be fast because I realize we want to hear from others. Okay, now, so let's start with the career service. 27th in the world, it's a really, really good career service who helps you to get a job. Yeah. You do have a choice in one sense. If you think about the UK and you go to a master's program somewhere, you normally afterwards look for a job and need a company to sponsor you. Here on the Masters in Management, you have a 3 months trial run basically with a company often who wants to employ people. We do indicate that if we can at the time when students pick their internship. And you know, companies, we have one which we're communicating with this week where they didn't want to offer this and they didn't get a student applying for their internship because students vote with their feet. Okay, so in that sense, your chances to get a job going to Cranfield because of our industry connection, the internships, and the closer touch with industry is much higher than elsewhere, I think.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. There's a few more questions, but I want to come to Valentina if I can, just to get the last of the courses that we're talking about. Valentina, just introduce yourself very briefly if you can, and then launch right into those slides on your course. Tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I kind of I'm Dr. Valentina Battista. I'm a lecturer in human resource management at Cranfield University, and I'm also the director of the MSc Management and Human Resource Management, as you already mentioned. I think I had kind of a different path, if you want, that actually brought me to Cranfield. As while I was studying my MSc, actually, I already kind of knew that I wanted to be in academia. And so it's when, soon after my study, actually, I just had a couple of years experience working in the HR space in a company in Italy. And that's when I realized that there was kind of much more to do in that space and to research a bit more. And then when, I decided to go for a PhD, to start a PhD in performance management. And then I would say soon after my PhD, I decided to apply for a position at Cranfield, as, there was very thought leader in the HR space from the university. So, and I got, I would say, the privilege actually to join this amazing place, Cranfield University. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And if I can please share some of the slide, I'm going to just, kind of provide an overview what this course in management and human resource management is about. As I will say, Michael already was explaining at the beginning, this course is really designed also for people that want to have a managerial role, a general, I will say, managerial role, because we know that when we talk about human resource management or people management, actually it's something that you are going to do even if you are a manager in any managerial level. And the course itself, indeed, as also the title suggests, is actually focused on the management component as two main components, I would say, as the managerial component and the human resource component. Now, because of that, we actually have a double accreditation. So it is accredited by the CMI, as the other courses, I will say, that we already gone overview about. And but it is also accredited by the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, specifically for the, I would say, the people management part. Now, because of that, in the kind of overview we had about the different modules, the course will start with the modules that are more related to general management, but then they will focus later on during the year, so term 2, term 3, more on people management related topics, such as performance management and reward, talent management and career, or employment relationship. So there is quite a variety, I would say, of topic that will be covered, so to offer the kind of learning related to the broad area that actually involve people management. Now, along with that, similar to the other courses, we have kind of, we will dive into practical HR world from the first day. And how we do that is that alongside with the academic, I will say, provision of the different modules, we also organize HR speaker series with Thought Global HR Leader. So we invite actually people coming from HR leaders, coming from the industry, so the practical, I will say, word, to deliver talk to our student, and so to create that kind of connection opportunity for our student to connect, but also explore more practical, if you want, issue more practical insight, have more practical insight. Because the course is accredited by the CIPD, we also invite our student, we support our student to join event organized by the CIPD local branch. And we also offer an HR mentoring program to support our student, to kind of, I will say, find their way while they are spending their time with us. The course, again, similar to the other course that we were discussing, it is highly practice oriented. You want to offer that, and that is done through some of the module, and there is one special module, the management consulting module, that actually, as similar to the MSc management, we bring actually HR company to the class, in the class, to present some challenge that related to the people space, so that actually our student can work on the specific project to identify a specific solution to be then presented to the business. Next slide, please. So that is more, as I was saying, the kind of real world learning that we wanted to bring into the classroom. You can see here, a picture from the HR speaker series that actually we organized last year, and you can see what the students say in relation to that. It's really kind of connecting or providing additional opportunities for people to connect more with the practical world. It is also about using how we do that is also through the use of interactive case studies. So there are modules that we are teaching where we are actually co-teaching with HR leaders that can present some of the case that they have been working that again are related to the HR space or the people management space. I briefly mentioned about the consultancy project, but I think, this it's quite, something that I would like to highlight, that these are guided by HR consulting entrepreneurs and senior HR consultants. So, the faculty, the HR faculty is part of the teaching team for the module. But for some of these modules, we also have actually practitioner coming into the classroom to share the practical experience with our students. Next slide, please. And here, as you can see, there are some of the, just some of the stats, if you want, just to show you where actually our alumni, so that came to Cranfield to get an HR program, an HR background, landed with their job. You can see it's quite varied in relation to their location. So we have alumni all around the world, but also the type of company that they landed to into their job. So as Michael also was suggesting, we are there, to provide the kind of course learning and skills related to the different specialized space here, but it's also supporting the own development that each student then want to go through.
Valentina, can I stop you there? Thank you for that overview. Please stick around because there's a ton more questions on the text chat. I'm very keen to talk to Maria. Maria, I'm not sure if you're still there, but thank you for sticking around for so long. I've got to open with Annette's question around thesis. Have you chosen a thesis topic yet? And if you have, what is it?
Okay, all right. I'm actually interested in applying for one of the in-company projects because the topic of the thesis is very close to my heart, which is investigating intersection between climate change and the vulnerable groups. So because I have been working with vulnerable groups back in Malaysia, and I myself, I'm an indigenous. So it's very interesting to investigate, because I believe in just transition. How can we help the vulnerable groups and the marginalized so that they are not left behind in the overall sustainability agenda? Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Tell us more about the course that you're on. Give me a typical day. You're a student on the course. Give me a typical day on the course.
All right. The MCS course is a blend between sustainability and management. So the main reason I'm here is because I find it a struggle, to create a business case on why everyone should get on board on sustainability. The blend between management and sustainability is somehow very valuable because for me to push forward the sustainability agenda, I need to be able understand the business, to speak in the same language as the business, and that is where all the management modules comes in, learning about operations, finance, and our classes have been very interesting because we've been getting guest speakers who are from the industries who comes in and share the real life challenges that they face that I can bring back when I return back home. Yeah.
Something tells me you're quite a student here at Cranfield because you're involved in 2 competitions. Is that right? Tell us more about that.
I've been involved. I actually made it to the finale for 2 of the competition. For 2 of the competition. One which is Unilever, which is now called Colworth, and as well as the Help Prize. So for me, I just want to make the most out of my experience here although the topics, the solution for each of these two competitions has nothing to do with my background. But I showed up because I wanted to learn as well as build connections and collaborate, because this is what we need to be doing in the real world. And I've been very privileged because I get to work, like for the cohort, I get to work with renewable energy student, wastewater student, as well as logistic and procurement student. Similarly with the house price, I was the only one from MCS. It's all like, they're all like from different schools. So it's not just about learning the theories, but also the connections, learning about other fields is something that I can integrate to be like a holistic sustainability practitioner in the future. Yeah.
We're all amazed by what you've done in the short time that you've been here. On a practical basis, because people watching will have questions around accommodation and scholarships and so on. Accommodation, give us a quick introduction to accommodation. Are you living on campus or are you living off campus? And how easy was that to apply for?
Right. I'm living on campus. So I'm very fortunate to have my family here. So I'm staying in one of the shared family houses. It's located near the School of Management. So there are a couple of options here on campus. If you are a small family, there are like a 2-bedroom accommodation. If you have a bigger family, they also have 3 bedrooms accommodation, as well as if you don't have kids, there's a accommodation just for couples. So there are many options, and you need to book as early as possible. So basically, before I even get my offer letter, before I even get my scholarship, I booked and gave in the deposit so that I can secure the accommodation on campus. Yeah.
Wow, that's astonishing to hear your story there. In terms of advice, in the few minutes that we have remaining, what advice would you give to students on this call and watching the recording who are just thinking about doing what you've done? What advice would you give?
Right. So one, prior to coming Cranfield, what I did previously is I reached out to the admission office. I talked to them, asking about how is it on campus, what are the processes. Just reach out. Everything is on the website, as well as reach out to know about the student's life. I reach out to ambassadors. I myself now is a student ambassador. So if anyone you would like to know more about the life here, you can go to UniBuddy on the Cranfield website, and we can chat there. I found out about the modules from MCS from the student ambassadors who have been studying here before. So this is prior to coming to Cranfield. When you are here, my advice is just show up and try. Actually, by personality, an introvert. It scares me to do a lot of things, but I just want to make the most of my time here. I'm on a Chevening scholarship here, so I am supposed to go back to Malaysia, contribute back to my community. So just show up, participate, just get and learn as much as you can and build connections. Yeah.
Maria, you are an inspiration, an absolute inspiration. Annette, I've got to come to you next. You should be very proud of Maria joining the course. Annette, in the last few minutes, what advice would you give to students thinking of coming on your course?
Well, I think, as you said, Maria is an inspiration and a shining example. So I think, being the type of student that Maria exemplifies is the kind of student that I would love to continue to teach on the course. So, have that drive, that passion in sustainability, that passion to change things for the better, using the skills that you'll learn through the management part of the degree, and then applying that through specialist sustainability-based knowledge.
Brilliant. Annette, thank you very much. Oksana, can I leave it with you? What advice would you give people coming or thinking of coming on the MENT course?
I think I'd like to see very proactive people who likewise would like to change the world and have some vision of how to do that. Somebody who thrives on collaboration, would like to extend their resources and networks well beyond what is currently available, and really sort of somebody who's got commitment to not only have the vision but actually focus on execution. So I suppose, you know, we just want to have these proactive students that we can be proud of.
Thank you. And Valentina, just in the last few seconds that we have, what advice would you give?
Yeah, I will say, you know, if you have any kind of interest in working, when I say working with people, in developing people, and you have the passion to learn more about how to be effective in your role, in your leadership role, I will say that this course, you know, the Management and Human Resource Management, may be the right place for you.
Brilliant, thank you. You're going to say, get yourself to Cranfield. That's what you're going to say.
I'm going to say, I have fantastic students. They are
certainly
brilliant. I learn a lot from them. They go on to places to be very successful. And yes, get on. If you already have an offer holder, if you are, please go and look at accommodation, because on-campus life is really fantastic. So try to get, like Maria did, quickly into the accommodation on campus. If you're still thinking whether you want to apply, go for it, because I have never spoken to a student who has regretted it, actually, to come to us. Right.
You heard it here first. We've really enjoyed your company. Apologies, we could have spent a lot longer with each of the individuals here. Please stay in touch with Cranfield. Again, if you're watching the recording, please keep that conversation going with us. So Michael, thank you very much indeed. Annette, Oksana, Valentina and Maria, thank you so much for the time out of your busy days today. The studio managers today were Robin Hackett and Marco Gomez. The producers were Tammy Archer-Peters and David Metcalf. My name is Toby Thompson. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.